Warm welcome. You're watching India Today. I'm Preeti Choudhri. Today, as we pay tribute to one of the legends of Bollywood, Dharmendra, we also celebrate his life. Over the course of this 1 hour, we're going to try and connect to the people who shared parts of Dharmendra's life, whom he left an impact on. As we say goodbye, blue skies, Dharmendra. A farm boy from Punjab to a Bollywood superstar. No film background, no formal training, no big ticket contacts. But a screen presence so captivating that would etch cinematic history. Dharmendra has passed, leaving a time steeped in melancholy, taking that proverbial final curtain call. But what will endure is his legacy, that warm sepia-tinted image that will forever burn bright in the annals of Indian cinema. The quintessential superstar in Mumbai, with the warmth of the pinned in Punjab and the charm that could hold the world captive. As we mourn his loss, we celebrate a life well lived and the legacy he leaves behind. And viewers, as collectively we mourn his loss, we do celebrate the legacy that Dharmendra leaves behind, and what a life Dharmendra lived. Coming from a small town, a small village in Punjab, a farm boy, now a Bollywood legend. He came to Mumbai, Bombay then, with absolutely nothing but dreams bigger than the village he came from. And then he went on to etch cinematic history, forever be remembered as Dharam Paji. Our beloved Dharmendra is no more. He's passed at the age of 89. Leaving a huge void, a family steeped in mourning, a nation steeped in mourning. But that smile will endure, and it is a life well lived. 89 years, rich history is what Dharmendra leaves behind. The legendary actor, whose towering presence graced Indian cinema for 6 decades, was admitted earlier this month at the Breach Candy Hospital due to respiratory failure. His departure marks the end of an era, but it is an era that will endure. His final cinematic outing will be Ikkis, which is scheduled posthumously for Dharmendra, release date 25th of December, as a poignant reminder of his legacy. Constellation of Bollywood's finest gathered at Ville Parle today to pay their respects and then condolences to the family. The cremation ceremony, very, very low-key. The family wanted a very low-key ceremony where the cremation of Dharmendra was concerned, and that was respected by all. Celebrities, though, poured in through the course of this morning and continue to pour in at Dharmendra's residence. Solemn tributes have been coming in through the day. Tributes to the man who defined strength, who defined charm, who defined grace. As of now, there has been no formal statement from the family. But the film fraternity and millions of fans mourn a hero both on and off the screen, and also celebrate a life well lived and the legacy that will endure. I want to quickly cut across to my colleague Sana Farzeen, who's been joining us right outside Dharmendra's residence, and a steady stream of actors.
Divya Datta, Sonali Bendre, everyone who's worked with the Deol family and who considered Dharmendra Deol as an iconic figure have been stepping in to be with the family at this moment. Although the last rites was low-key, however, people have been coming in to pay their condolences, pay their tribute to the man who's worked for more than 6 decades and given so many hit films to the Indian film industry, more than 300 films in 6 decades, and he's been an inspiration inspiration to generations of actors and actors like Salman Khan and Ranveer Singh have spoken so many times about being inspired by Dharmendra, and we can see that love that ever since Dharmendra was hospitalized. Salman had even visited Dharmendra at the hospital. Shah Rukh, Amir Khan, Govinda, they had all come to the hospital, and today also they were there with the Deol family. Of course, right now, no official statement
True.
have been issued by the family. However, we understand that at this moment, they all want to be with their loved ones, be absolutely surrounded by their loved
Right.
ones, Sunny and Bobby Deol,
Sana,
and
we're going
his
to
children,
continue to
Abhi,
come
Risha Deol.
back to you. My colleague Sana is joining us outside Dharmendra's residence, and like we did point out, a steady stream of well-wishers, friends, family coming in, condolences for the family, respect, final respects for Dharmendra ji. The annals of India cinematic history. And joining me on that is Ms. Bhavna Somaiya, author, columnist, Indian film journalist and critic, and somebody who had very closely studied the career of Dharmendra. Bhavna ji, thank you for taking the time out and joining us this evening. Very few have followed, reported, practically studied a career as closely of Dharmendra as you have, Bhavna ji. Today, they say it's the proverbial curtain call for a superstar. It is goodbye, Dharmendra. He leaves behind a legacy that will endure, Bhavna ji. How do you wish he be remembered?
I would like to remember him with a smile, and I agree with you that though he has passed away, we have his cinema, we have his memories, and I will not mourn him because right now, when you were playing all the montages, I was getting so emotional and feeling so nostalgic about it. I think he defied conventions in many ways. First, he was this illiterate boy from Punjab, Ajat, who had the dream to come to Mumbai and make it on his own, and he did. And he was all heart, and just through his heart and his good looks, he won over people. And slowly, as he was molded by the different filmmakers he worked with and he soaked in their sensibilities, he gave sensitive performances, movie formula, mainstream masala performances. We seem to forget that he has worked with filmmakers like Rishikesh Mukherjee, Chupke Chupke, of course, but also Anupama, also Satyakam, where he was so subtle, so succinct, and so moving and so introverted. He had the chance to also work with Guru Dutt. Unfortunately, Guru Dutt passed away before the film could be made, which was Bahare Phir Bhi Aayenge. And he's worked with so many heroines over the decades, and somehow they never seemed mismatched. And I think Dharmendra was one hero. The women thought he was very good looking, and also the men thought he was very good looking. So it was a blending of two genders where everybody thought he was good looking. And I think he was a very kind hearted hero because when I was a rookie reporter and I'd gone to interview him and I was waiting for a long time to get his interview, he understood that I was very raw and he wanted to give me the interview and he said, "Abhi ghar chale jao, kal aa jana, abhi shaam ho gayi hai." And later on, when in the 80s he was launching his son and was turning a producer for the first time, he was so anxious for Sunny. And I remember that we had to do a photo shoot with Amrita Singh, and my editor was there, I was on the ground. And Sunny was so inhibited and so shy in front of his father. So he came to us as a magazine and he said कि मेरा बेटा मेरे से शर्मा रहा है तो मैं घर चले जाता हूँ और आप उनको मैनेज कर लेना. And I saw the same thing happen with Sunny and his son, you know, when he had to do a photo shoot. So it's a very shy family. And Dharmendra was not just a super duper star. Almost all his films were box office grossers over the decades. And I think very few continued to work till the end the way he did. I mean, his film is going to be released posthumously. His last movie, Ikkis. Also, he flirted with politics and he enjoyed himself. And he said, "Paji jeet gaye, magar party haar gayi us waqt." And he was also a dormant poet. He wrote in Urdu. He has written innumerable verses. And I told him so many times that Dharam ji, आपको ये publish करवानी चाहिए. He said, नहीं, मैं अपने लिए लिखता. I hope his family puts together his verses and makes a book out of it, just so that we get a complete picture of the man.
You know, and you're so right, Bhavna ji, the way you started, that all those scenes make you emotional because it actually not just, gives you a very short glimpse in the filmography of what Dharmendra ji was, but also the passing of time, and how it's come full circle. But you're right, we have to remember him with a smile. He lived a full, good life right till the end, and befitting, with what he's left behind. But Bhavna ji, you speak of him so fondly. You've had such personal experiences with him. I want to ask you a question that, in hindsight, with the benefit of hindsight, were critics unkind to him because he was so good looking that it overpowered the fact that he was also a great actor? Everyone just focused on how great looking that he was. And he never quite got that due of being a fabulous actor. His comic timing was spot on.
It was a very sensitive point with him, and he has often said in his interviews that I was not duly celebrated as an actor. And he said, मैं हर साल सूट सिलवाता था और मैं अवार्ड फंक्शन में सोचता था मुझे अवार्ड मिलेगा, मगर नहीं मिला. मगर मैं सोचती हूँ कि नहीं मिला तो वो उन लोगों का लॉस है. Because if you look at Chupke Chupke, out of the 4 performances, he's the best.
True.
Truly the best. So even when he was pitched in a multi-starrer, whether it was a Dharam Veer or any film, he always stood out with his timing, with his good looks, and he had a great voice. I liked his voice. There was so much warmth in his voice and his smile. He always said that it's very important to be a good human being. And he also, in a very emotional interview, once told me that my father said that when you go to bed at night, you should count on your hands how many friends you have. And if you can count five good friends, you are lucky. I think he had more than 5.
No, you're so right when you said that he had more than 5, because when we remember him today, Bhavna ji, and it's, we've got reporters who are pinned in Punjab. Everyone is speaking of him with moist eyes. And there is one word which very rarely gets attached to a superstar like him and the kind of, success that he's seen. And that is charming. Other than just charming, the warmth that he had. He was such a warm human being. And that is something that filters through. Do you have any memories of that? Can you recount an incident for us?
I think the fact that for a man who was so good looking, and as you get older, you don't look the same way that you do. He was not apologetic about it. He still wanted to embrace life. He wanted to experience an adventure, what was coming his ways. He made his appearances on television. He went to the farm. He put up posts of whatever he felt and said. I think that speaks of great confidence, that you're not obsessed with your good looks and that you are embracing your life, your age so gracefully.
He wore his heart on his sleeve as well. We had so many actors and actresses through the course of the day, Bhavna ji, who've spoken with us. Asha ji had the most wonderful things to say about him.
During different decades, speak of him with such warmth. My one precious memory is when his film Apne was released, and he had gone to London for the premiere or something. And I had called him up, and Bobby answered the phone. And I think Bobby must have just passed on the message, ke aaya tha phone. And Bobby must have not expected that he's going to call back. But he wanted to know from me what I thought of the film. And I think that speaks of, again, his heart. That it's so many years, so many films, and yet you want the feedback from the people whom you respect or care for, whatever the association is.
Bhavna ji, before I let you go, I'm going to ask you,
not wanting to put themselves out in responding to you or giving you feedback about something that you posted on them because they want to keep themselves discreet or whatever. He always responded. I have very, very happy memories of him because I have seen him at his home also with Himaji, and they were a wonderful couple. Very, very normal, natural, everything is nice.
Bhavna Somaiya, thank you for taking the time out and joining us. Happy memories, and that's a good one and a good way to remember Dharmendra. I also have with me Taran Adarsh, Indian film critic and trade analyst. Taran Adarsh, today, how do you look back? How do you remember Dharmendra ji? How should he be remembered? Like I said, I actually feel because he was so overpowerly good looking that it overshadowed the fact that he was such a terrific actor.
Yes. Of course, he was a good-looking man. I'm sorry I'm using the term was. To use the term in the past tense for Dharamji is something that doesn't really come easy to me right now. But I feel that more than being a good-looking man, yes, he was. He was a very, very, very fine human being. And I've had so many instances. I recall so many instances of Dharamji being so kind to not just to me. I mean, there are instances that I would like to narrate, but there were producers who would come to him and he would be so he would go out of his way to accommodate them. Money being the second part. Money was never an issue with him. He wanted to help producers. He wanted to help the fraternity. He wanted to work continuously, and he used to do three, four shifts in a day. I mean, shooting non-stop, helping producers, not charging, foregoing his money. The kind of work that he's done, the kind of person he was. He was one actor. I still remember he was one actor who was so accessible to all, from the producer to the financier to the distributor to the theater people to the spot boy on the sets. He was there. People would approach him with their problems and he would really be there to help them out. So that's the kind of memories that I have of Dharamji. Oh, wow, a wonderful person, a life so beautiful that it can't be just described in mere words.
Taran Adarsh, do you remember, do you have an instance or an incident that you'd like to recall for us?
So many.
Give
But
us
one
one.
incident that comes to my mind is he was shooting for a film called Tehelka, and the media was, a few people from the media were invited to Himachal Pradesh where he was shooting the film, and it was snowing heavily. Now, we were all wearing our woolen and warm clothes, and there in the snow where he was shooting, he could spot me that I was shivering. So the moment the shot got over, he came up to me and he said, "Ki, thand bahut lag rahi hai?" I said, "Yes, lag rahi hai, sir." So he said, he called his staff and he said, "वो जो jacket है वो लेकर आ." He gave his personal jacket for me to wear it at that moment. This is something that really touched me and it brings tears to my eyes today. I have written about this, I have spoken about this, but it, for an actor to do that, for any person to do that in that freezing cold, left me speechless. Perhaps I did not really.
Taranji, he wore his heart on his sleeve, and that is something that was so you could see it in his life. One final question before I let you go. One film, one dialogue that one needs to remember Dharamji by.
Yeah, that it would be very unfair to remember Dharamji by just one film. I would say Mera Naam, Mera Gaon, Mera Desh, Pratigya, Chupke Chupke, Satyakam, of course, Guddi, Sholay, Barood. Sorry, not Barood. Charas. Then there was Azad. Then so many films. Dharam Veer, which is my all-time favorite. Chacha Bhatija. So many films come to my mind. Sita or Geeta. The montage that he put up was so beautiful. It brought back so many memories for me of my childhood, of my growing up years, and meeting Dharmendra for the first time on the sets. I think it is something that I treasure. I'll treasure all my life.
You're right. There is grief, there is mourning, but in midst of that, there also is celebration because we celebrate a life that was well lived, beautifully lived, and he leaves behind such a rich legacy. Very few have the privilege of enjoying a life that Dharamji did. Thank you, Taran Adarsh, for joining us. Maushmi Chatterjee, one of the co-stars of Dharmendra ji, on the phone line with us right now. Maushmi ji, thank you for taking the time out and joining us as we mourn. There is grief, but there has to be joy of the legacy that he leaves behind, a celebration of a life so well lived, Maushmi ji. Can you hear me, Maushmi ji?
हेलो
Can you hear me, Maushmi ji?
हाँ जी हाँ
मौशमी जी, जो याद आपके पास है धर्मेंद्र जी की, उनमें से एक किस्सा जरूर सुनाइएगा हमें।
या तो बहुत है पर मुझे जब धर्मेंद्र बोला जाता है मुझे अनुपमा का वो गाने याद आता है गाना या दिल के सुनो दुनिया वालों, ये गाना मुझे सुनाई देता है। और धर्म जी के बारे में वो आप लोग जब बोलते हो इट हर्ट यू नो व्हेन यू से ही लिव्ड दैट लेगेसी बिहाइंड व्हेन ही वाज ऑलवेज देयर एंड ही विल बी देयर। एंड उनके जैसा सहज और सरल व्यक्ति बहुत कम देखा हमने लाइफ में। और सभी अभिनेता जो हमारे साथ काम किया वो पहले अभिनेता होता है और फिर इंसान मनुष्य जो मान और होश के साथ होता है। वो धर्म जी थे पहला ह्यूमन बीइंग एंड देन ही वाज एक्टर। दैट्स व्हाट आई फील एंड आई विल ऑलवेज फीलिंग दिस वे ओनली। And he, towards me, he was very affectionate, very protective. That because of my father-in-law, Hemant Kumar, he knew so well there, you know. In one time, I met him only with my father-in-law in the beginning. And then I did his own production picture also, Ghail. Then I did, I think last movie was Aagi Aag or something like that. But he... I can't tell. I mean, it's not that industry lost or his family lost. It's such a biggest loss for all of us, you know. It's and he was such a his nature was so much. I think I can get connected because he was very childlike. ऊपर से वो दिखता होगा tough, लेकिन अंदर से बहुत soft और बहुत दयालु व्यक्ति थे।
Thank you, Maushmi ji.
मेरे घर आए थे वो। He was so worried about his son, Sunny Deol. That time his picture was not going that well, so he wanted to cut me in his picture that Ghail. And in the beginning when they came and they approached me, I said no. Then Dharamji was so confident. He came on his own, you know, and he just said, he told my husband, Babu, tell her to do this movie. I want her to be in my movie. And I did Ghail. And I remember when he came and he sat with us and he was telling me, you know, you do. मतलब हाँ लोग इतने egoist होते हैं, इतने उनका ये होते हैं. I never find Dharam ji like that. He was always so sahaj.
Right.
Anything?
Maushmi ji, thank you for joining us and taking the time out to recall your memories with Dharmendra ji.